Thanks for joining me today for Porch Talk. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I appreciate you joining me today. And today I wanted to talk about Christmas. And Christmas to me is a very special time, and for most people, it's a very special time of the year. And even folks that may not believe in Jesus, they will believe in Christmas because they believe in Santa Claus. But I just wanted to talk for a few minutes. Christmas time's a good time. We'll get together with some of our family this year at Christmas. We get together every year with them, and we have such a wonderful time. And you get to see some of them we might not get to see but once a year, and some we might not. I believe there's going to be some there now this year that we may not have seen in a couple of years or more. But it's always such a fun time to get to see folks that you don't normally get to see, and even the ones that you get to see pretty regularly, it's good to visit them at Christmas time. And Christmas to me now has kind of changed some. When I was a kid, I looked so much forward to getting gifts, and now it's more like we want to give gifts rather than receive. When you get older, you pretty much got everything that you need. It's just the thought that counts. But, for a little child, it's really special to get gifts. But I wanted to say something about that. They've gotten Christmas so commercialized anymore that I think people ought to know that if you can't afford Christmas, there's no need in putting your family in financial trouble for Christmas. And a lot of people will. They'll jeopardize their financial well-being and pay or borrow money, put it on plastic, whatever, and pay on it for a year or two or three just to buy all their family special gifts. And in a month or two, you ask most children, they'd have no idea what they even got for Christmas. But people for some reason almost relate that to something that you have to do. And in the Bible, when the wise men came, they brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to Jesus, their King, the Lord of Lords. So there was nothing to say that you had to bring gifts. Now some say they do that in remembrance of that. Some do it because of Santa Claus. But there's nothing that says you have to do that. But the biggest gift you can give is being together with your friends and family on Christmas Day. And I think that is so important. One of the main commandments Jesus said was to love your neighbor as yourself. And who is our neighbor? Someone asked Jesus in one passage. And so, our neighbors, getting together with them and fellowshipping and having a good time, I think is so important. And whether you can afford big gifts and all that, now as you get older, your gifts are kind of more expensive if somebody could afford one, But I don't expect my wife to go out and buy me a new truck or something like that, but she'll get me some little things and oftentimes just kind of surprise me. I've already gotten one of my Christmas gifts, and that's a weather station, and she got me one last year. It didn't last no time, so this year we've went to a different brand, and I'm hoping it lasts. But it tells your wind speed, records the moisture, and on this new one you can even take your cell phone and look and read what your temperature and everything is there at the house. So like if we're off somewhere in another town, I could look on my cell phone and say, oh, it's so and so degrees at our home, it's raining, the wind's a certain speed, whatever. And I know that's not something that you can't live without, but I think it's neat. I like to watch the weather. If you're into homesteading, the weather is very important. And whether you're going to have to break ice for your cows, if you need to put out extra bedding, how cold did it actually get today? When I go out early in the mornings, I have to get out kind of early when it's still cold and frosty to feed the animals. And I'll look at that temperature, and the other morning it was 19 degrees. I know that sounds mild to what some of you have been putting on, but to me 19 degrees is cold. And so I put on extra layers of clothes when I gotta go out and it's only 19 degrees. But anyway, I appreciated the gift I got, and I know there's others we won't open up. But it's thinking back about, we'll open up with my son. We've got him some gifts. You know, now, of course, he's 21-year-old, but it's neat to get him some things and surprise him. And I've got him one gift this year, and I'm not going to say it because sometimes he watches my videos. But I think he'll be surprised at it. It's not an expensive gift, but it's something I think he will really enjoy. But anyway, when we were kids, we didn't get a lot of gifts. And usually you would get one or two, maybe toys, and then you would get clothes and things like that. And my mom, they'd always tease us that we wouldn't open up anything till Christmas morning. Well, my mom on Christmas Eve would finally break down and let you open up one gift. And I remember one year, for some reason, they broke down and just said, y'all can open up all the gifts. We'd already went to bed, and they come in there and got us and said, y'all can open up your gifts. So we all came in, opened up our gifts. And I remember when we'd get to open up one gift, I would kind of feel the gifts ahead of time, and I kind of knew the one I thought was something that, like a toy or something, because I didn't want to open up a pair of socks or underwear and think, well, blah, you know, and I'm fixing to go to bed, so who wants that? Although we needed those things, it's like, you know, as a kid, you always wanted your toy, and I would end up sleeping with my toy, you know, right by me when I went to bed. My mom, she would tell us, y'all got to get to bed because Santa Claus will be coming. And if you're not asleep, well, he won't come. And another thing is, in the morning we got to get up early and open up our gifts. And then we're going to go down to Grandma's house. And so we would go down to my grandmother's and Grandma Krause. And you've heard me tell stories before, but she's the one that had the well and have to draw water out of the well and had outhouses and all that stuff. But it was really country when you went to her home, and we enjoyed it. She had a little old bitty house, and I don't know how many grandkids, probably 20 or 30 grandkids, and I mean, that little bitty home would be packed out, and nobody, it seemed like everyone was just so happy. The adults would gather in the kitchen mostly and sat around the table she had in there and stuff, and the kids would just run and play. And if it was at all possible, we spent our time outside until it was time to eat. Especially as boys, we'd be out there climbing the trees and just doing whatever, having a good time. But anyway, we'd go down to Granny's, but I'd sleep with my gift, and I'd think, well, tonight, I know I got to go to bed, but I'll hang on to this gift. My mama won't know it, and I'll just put it in the bed with me, and I'll play with it all night long. And in the morning, when it comes time, I will have already, you know, I've played with it all I wanted to. Well, I'd wake up the next morning, and I was like, you know, I didn't have that gift no time. I was already asleep, didn't get to play with it. But just some fun memories. I remember one time my dad, my mom got my dad a gift from us kids, and we were back in the bedroom wrapping it. We had shut the bedroom door, and well, we heard something outside and opened up. One of my sisters pulled the curtain back, and my dad was in the window looking, and he had slipped outside, and my dad lounged around in the house with like usually just underclothes on, you know, and he was out there in the cold weather. It seems like we had snow on, but he had snuck around to that window and was peeking in, looking at see what his gift was. And I remember one time he told one of my sisters, he said he had went to the bedroom there, and she had come in there, and he was telling her, said, tell me what my gift is this year, and I'll tell you what one of your gifts is. So my little sis, she told him, and she didn't realize that Mom had walked right in behind her. So Mom was not very happy about that. And so anyway, just some fun memories, precious memories. And you know, as far as a lot of gifts, I couldn't tell you a lot of the things I got. I remember getting Tonka toys. That was something that was pretty popular for us to get. But you know, those are long gone, rusted, decayed, beat up, ran over, whatever, and they're all gone. But the memories I have will be here forever. of the good times we had growing up. And my dad liked to listen to Elvis Presley Christmas songs. He loved listening to Elvis Presley, but I don't recall that he really played Elvis Presley music much except for at Christmas, and he played a Elvis Christmas tape, and it had that there'll be a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. And we had to listen to those songs over and over. And I was like, I can't stand Elvis Presley. I thought I'll never want to listen to Elvis Presley again, because from the time my dad would get home and turn on the news, and after he got through watching the news, we had a big old cassette player thing, a big old large console thing. You might remember that. Is before these little jam boxes started coming out, and it had an 8-track player and a big records on it, and Dad had an 8-track of Elvis Presley, and he would play that in there, and it sure was I was like, I will never listen to that. But now I ran across Elvis Presley record and tapes, and so of Christmas songs, and sometimes now I like to get them out. But it has memories of, and I know you all probably have memories of Christmas times and things, and like I say, all the gifts and all that stuff, you know, when it's all gone, it'll be these memories that we have of good times. And you know, a lot of the folks, grandparents and family people that we used to spend Christmas with aren't with us anymore. They've gone on to be with the Lord, and I sure miss them. And sometimes at Christmas you get to thinking about the things and the memories that we had, the times that we had, and I'll get to thinking about them, and you kind of get sad, but it's joyous though to know that one day we're going to meet again. Well, because of our belief in Jesus Christ, which Jesus is the reason for the season. So we're celebrating His birth. Later He died and He rose again, and He's coming back again for His saints. And you know, I don't know how you believe, but that's the way I believe it, and that's the way I read it in the Bible. But He is coming back one of these days, and we are going to go and live with Him if we know Him and our name's written in that Lamb's Book of Life. We're going to go be with Jesus one of these days. And I think, well, that's just great. And I think of those that's going on. If their names were written in the Lamb's Book of Life, then we're going to join with them one of these days. And I thought, what a hallelujah time we're going to have. But right now on earth, I have to settle for the memories I have of times gone by. And maybe you've been thinking at this time of the year of certain memories that you have, precious memories, and of loved ones and those that's gone, and memories of those that are still here. And but anyway, we certainly have had some good times. When me and my wife was dating, I'll tell this funny story about Josie. We were dating, and we've been married now 26 years, I believe it is. But we was at church, and she was real bashful at the time. We just started dating, sort of at that time, and they had asked her to come up and sing. And when she got up to sing, her slip had slipped down, and it embarrassed her. And so she just kind of right over me to get out in the aisle and went back to the back, and they were waiting for her to get up on the stage. And we had there was a packed house at the church house that night, and they were like, what's going on? And a little bit, here she come, and went up her. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know her slip had slipped down, but come to find out that's what had happened, and it had been embarrassed her. So I guess that's a common thing for women, that you don't think nothing of it, and I didn't think nothing of it, didn't know. But anyway, come Christmas time, one of the elderly ladies in the church, she said, I have a gift I want you to give to Stacy from you. So they filmed it there. I think Stacy's dad and different ones had video cameras going. And so anyway, she opens up this gift, and this lady had took a pair of a woman's slip, and had took a pair of suspenders and had sewed on to this slip. So Stacy thought I had really gotten her a good gift, and I really had, but I let her open that gift first. And oh, she was so happy. She tears open the box, and everybody's watching, all the family. We was at her grandma's house, and a bunch of folks was there, and she opens this up. She's so happy. Well, she wasn't very happy after she seen what it was. It really embarrassed her, and anyway, we kind of got started off on the wrong foot. There could have been ended in disaster. We might not have ever gotten married, but it's just some fun things. And then I gave her the real gift, and that seemed, I can't even remember what that gift was now, but it helped take care of the bad gift she got. And then later they were having a party thing at her work, and this elderly woman, older woman, she worked there with her, and so she got even with her. They were opening gifts, and she got even with her, so it was kind of a funny thing. But anyway, just precious memories. And just want to tell you, if you have lost a loved one or somebody recently, don't be discouraged, and don't let that ruin your holiday. And if you're going through money troubles, and you feel like you can't get your kids the best of everything. You know, nowadays the kids want these video games and all this stuff, cost a fortune. Don't let that discourage you. Just remember the season. The most important thing is for you to be with your family. And if you'll be with your family and loved ones, and if you've got children, your children are going to remember this. I remember being with my parents, and I know that my son will remember us being together. Over the years, we have had some wonderful Christmas. I love to put up Christmas lights, and when my son was younger, he couldn't wait to help put up Christmas lights. Now he likes looking at them, but he's not so keen on wanting to put them up. And this year I got so busy I didn't even get the Christmas lights out. And I thought, well, it's so late now, forget it. I won't put the Christmas lights up, and I will next year. But I love Christmas lights. But you know, it's what you like, what you enjoy doing, and just do it and have a good time with it, and spend time with your family. Your children will remember. If you got grandchildren, they're certainly going to remember being with Granny and Grandpa more than what you get for them. They're going to remember being with you in the time that they spent. You know, oh, if I could go back with my grandparents now and be with them, oh, that would be just wonderful. You know, if I could just spend a few minutes with them, it would be so great. But we can't go back in time. All we can do is focus on the future, and do the best we can right now to spend valuable time. Somebody told me one time it wasn't the amount of time, but it's the quality time you spend with your family. And I think that is so true. You may not get to spend a whole lot, but time-wise, but when you do get to spend time, spend good quality time. Oftentimes, parents now, the younger ones, are busy on their phones and doing everything and not listening to their children. And I see folks eating at restaurants, and you know, the parents and the children are all sitting there with their phones, and I guess they're texting each other, communicating or whatever, but they're missing out on such wonderful times. I think one of the reasons I've always had weight problems is I've enjoyed eating food, and one of the things was that was one time when our family would get together every evening. We would have supper, and at that time there was just a certain way we did things, a certain thing, but you got to talk about whatever, and we just had a good old grand time. And it seemed like some of the most peaceful times we had was at the supper table. And so I feel like, and when we'd have events like especially Christmas and Thanksgiving, it seemed like those were special times when, and I remember my grandma had cooking so much food, and you couldn't even eat helping of everything. There would just be so much stuff, and so many pies and cakes and other stuff, and plus the real food, and you'd be just miserable eating the real food that you didn't have room for dessert. But we'd usually, us men, or as a boy and then as a man also, we would go quail hunting. And now there's no quail around here to be able to go quail hunting, but on Thanksgiving Day we'd go quail hunting, and usually on Christmas Day. And so we would finish our meals and we'd go quail hunting, and then come back to Grandma's house, and we would eat again, usually more of a dessert thing. Then the men would come back, and the ladies would stay there at the house with Grandma, and they would clean up the dishes, and then they'd just sit around and visit and have them a good old time. And it's just some very special, precious memories. And I hope you'll make memories this Christmas. And we just want to wish you, from all of us here at Cedar Creek Homestead, me and Stacy, we just want to thank you all and wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you. We'll see you next Tuesday here on Porch Talk, 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights. If you haven't subscribed, we'd appreciate your subscription. And if you like our video, give us a thumbs up. And down in the comments, put some kind of precious, special memory you have. If you have one about Christmas, type it down there and share it with the rest of us. Hey, we're gone.